Greetings, ladles and jelly spoons from the orbital broadcast bunker, Britain's first and only airborne subterranean studio. We're beaming down today to talk about a galaxy far, far away, but with a twist that only Massive Entertainment can deliver. Star Wars Outlaws is an up-and-coming action-adventure game made by Massive Entertainment and published by Ubisoft. The game is set in the Star Wars universe and takes place between the movies The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. The story follows a young scoundrel named Kay Vess who puts together a crew for a big heist to pay off a crime syndicate.
Yeah, that's it. Nothing says Star Wars like Swedish efficiency and a knack for tactical warfare. It's like IKEA but with more lasers.
The game is played from a third-person perspective where you explore an open world and take part in various activities. The development team, along with Lucasfilm Games and 10 other Ubisoft studios, aim to blend classic Star Wars elements with their own ideas, focusing on creating a cinematic and smooth gameplay experience. Humbly Gonzalez provides the motion capture and voice for Kay, with D. Bradley Baker voicing her companion Nix. Star Wars Outlaws is set to release on PlayStation 5, Windows and Xbox Series X and S in August 2024. Massive Entertainment was founded back in 1997 by Martin Wolfitz, back when the internet was dial-up and Pat was still yelling at teenagers in arcades. Ah, good old days when tactics meant cornering someone in Street Fighter with well-timed punches. Kids these days have no idea. And tea cost a shilling. Those were the days. You're not wrong there, Keith. Now, Massive Entertainment's early claim to fame was Ground Control in the year 2000, an action strategy title that made us all think, what if war, but with more buttons? That's perfect training for online shopping in the 2020s. Ground Control is a real-time tactics game developed by Massive Entertainment and published by Sierra Studios. It was released in 2004 PC, and the game centres on a battle between two factions fighting for control of a planet and some mysterious alien artefacts found there. Players take on the role of an officer for each faction, using different futuristic troops and tactics to complete their missions, with a focus on making good use of the terrain and careful planning. Yeah, the game also inspired a sequel, Ground Control 2 Operation Exodus, which came out in 2004 and features better graphics and improved gameplay. Then came World in Conflict in 2007, a game set during an alternative history of the Cold War. It's like Ground Control but with a dash of what if history but weirder.
Cold War. Were there any badgers involved? Now, they're quite territorial, you know. They mark their territory with a scent gland located underneath their tails, producing a strong-smelling substance called musk.
No badgers, Keith, but plenty of tactical nukes and helicopter gunships. It's not quite your cup of tea, but it made a big impact on the gaming world. World in Conflict is a real-time tactics game. The game received positive reviews and several awards, and although it's marketed as a real-time strategy game, the designers consider it more a real-time tactics game. The game is set in alternate 1989, where the Soviet Union, facing economic collapse and unable to get up from West, invade Western Europe, sparking World War III. In single-player campaign, players take on role of US Army officer, leading battalions of US and NATO forces. The story focuses on defending against the surprise Soviet invasion of the United States, starting in Seattle, Washington, with additional operations in southern France, Russia and New York. Eurogamer called the game absorbing, noting its focus on tactical objectives rather than resource management, saying it plays like a strategy game but feels like an action game. Wielding Conflict wasn't just another war game, it took real-time tactics to the next level, with a storyline that had more twists than a curly-whirly. Aye, and about as many calories if you've played long enough. I saw a badger with a curly-whirly once, you know. Couldn't figure it out, the poor thing. Right, moving on. Wielding Conflict was critically acclaimed and laid the groundwork for Massive Entertainment's future successors, like The Division. But its real legacy, showing us how to blow things up with style. Because you know, explosions are the universal language. And now Massive Entertainment is taking their tactical expertise to a galaxy far, far away with Star Wars Outlaws. It's their first Star Wars game and the first one outside of EA's control since 2013, so what can we expect? Well, you know, if history's any guide, a lot of confused stormtroopers and one hell of a final boss. I'm thinking, you know, Darth IKEA. That's a joke, you know, because they're Swedish. Don't worry, Pat, I got it. Oh, yes, very funny. Do you think the Outlaws will be assembling flat-pack lightsabers? Not quite, Keith, but with Massive Entertainment's track record, we can expect some top-notch world building and maybe a few tactical twists, like figuring out which end of the blaster is the dangerous one.
From childhood, Kay and Nix have been inseparable partners.
You're welcome.
So how does Star Wars Outlaws compare to other Star Wars games? Well, it's got the open world charm of The Division and the epic scale we've come to expect from the franchise. Let's just hope they don't include a mission to IKEA level, because I can barely survive a Saturday afternoon in there without a map. And you know, don't forget a good tea break is essential for any mission, Star Wars or otherwise. And with that, if Massive Entertainment can blend their past success with the magic of Star Wars, Outlaws could be the game that finally gets Pat off his soapbox. For a few minutes at least. The preview of Star Wars Outlaws has left some mixed feelings about the game's potential. The game has some promising elements, especially with the seamless transition between the different types of gameplay like exploration, stealth and space combat. However, the overall experience so far seems a bit underwhelming. The gameplay felt dated, with some mechanics and design choices reminiscent of older Star Wars games, which might just make the experience feel bland compared to more recent titles like the Jedi series. Protagonist Kai Vest don't quite stand out in the way other Star Wars characters have, which could be a downside for players looking for a memorable lead. Whilst it's important to note that the demo was an early version of the game and there's still time for improvements, the current state suggests the game might end up being bit too simplistic or lacking in personality. However, it could still appeal to fans looking for a straightforward, approachable Star Wars experience. In short, Star Wars Outlaws has potential, but it might not live up to high expectations set by other recent Star Wars games. There's hope that final version will be more polished, but as it stands, it's a bit of a toss-up whether it'll be a hit or a miss.
But if we're gonna pull this off, we need the right crew and the right ship.
There you have it, a nostalgic trip through Massive Entertainment's history leading up to their latest and possibly greatest game, Star Wars Outlaws. What do you think? Will Massive Entertainment bring something new to the Star Wars universe, or are we in for much of the same? Well, only one way to find out, really, isn't there? Like, share and subscribe so that you can keep up with our ramblings, because we know you're not here for the coherent thoughts, you know.
And remember, no matter how chaotic the galaxy gets, there's always time for a cup of tea and a chat about badgers.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Keith. Hit that subscribe button and join us next time here at the Orbital Broadcast Bunker, where the games are retro, the humour is dry and the tea is always perfectly steamed.